folks. It's just going to be a few minutes here as we try to get the video to work in that room. It was just working, but for some reason it's just timed out. Just be a moment.
Thank you, Robin.
There we are. We can see you now, Gabriel.
It's just weird. Mission Bridge. Oh, Mission Bridge.
We don't have Councillor Pleckus on the line yet. Did we want to begin with, oh, there he is. Councillor Pleckus, can you hear us okay?
I'm here.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, Gabriel, we're ready to go whenever you are.
Hello.
Councillor Pleckus, yep, we're here. We're just dealing with a couple IT issues.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Robin, do you see us now?
I can, and I can hear you.
Perfect.
Okay, we're ready to go whenever you're ready.
Okay. So just confirming, we have Councillor Barkman, Councillor Gibson, and then online we have Councillor Davies, Councillor Hamilton, and Councillor Pleckus. Am I right? That's great. Very good. Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone. All of our other people in the room, welcome. So I'm going to call the meeting to order and ask for an adoption of the agenda. So moved. First, is there a second?
Okay. I will. Danny.
Councillor Davies, is it? And all in favor? Yes?
Yes.
Good. Okay, so the adoption of the agenda is passed. Adoption of the minutes, there are none. And I have a note that I should introduce Nathan Koenig, who is our new General Manager of Engineering and Regional Services, taking over from Rob Isaac. Now it's possible to fill Rob Isaac's shoes, but you have the job. So we very much appreciate Rob, as we've said, and we welcome you to your new role. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Are you not going to give a speech or a dance or anything, are you?
No.
Okay. All right. So here we have you in person. That's good enough. Okay. Next item, presentations. My agenda says none, delegations none. So we're on to reports. There's item 6.1, a bi-monthly water report covering November and December of 2023. Jamie Austin will provide that for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm pleased to present the bi-monthly water report for November and December 2023. To begin with, all drinking water quality results during this period met regulatory requirements. And if we can go to Appendix A on page 5, that shows our daily demands. We have a peak flow back on November 7th of 72.9 megaliters. You can see we are pretty much following seasonal demands, which are kind of low to mid 60 megaliters daily now. If we could move on to Appendix C on page 7, that shows the monthly demands. Average daily demand for November was up by 6.7% in comparison to the same time last year. And at the time of this report, December was down slightly by 1.1%. We can move on to Appendix E on page 9. Shows us the lake levels. First up, this is Dixon. At the time of this report, we were at 94%. Since then, we've had a good amount of recovery, and Dixon, as of this morning, is at 97%. If we could move on to Appendix F, that shows us Canal Lake level. So at the time of the report, we were at 54%, and as of this morning, we are at 57%. So both lakes have started their recharge cycle, and that is actually the last appendix within the report. And if there's any questions, I'm happy to speak to them.
Sure.
Question from Councilor Barton.
How does that compare to last year, the recovery times?
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Barkman. Dixon is pretty much on par with how it is every year. We're usually close to 100% at this time of the year. With Canal, we're similar to where we were last year. However, last year we were probably about 10 to 15% lower than we are on average. So although we're in the same spot where we were last year was not a spectacular number to be at.
Any other questions?
Yes, Mr. Chair, Mark? I
Yes.
do have a question, Workington. My
Yes, please.
question, go ahead.
Yes, please,
Can I
go ahead.
Oh, thank you. The question is, I noticed that we become very reliant on the wells in the latter part of 2023, and it's caused some increase in operating costs. Is that going to continue into 2024? Or are we going to go back to using more of Norris Creek and Canal?
Thank you for the question through the chair. Great question. Last year was somewhat exceptional due to the early freshet occurring as well as the ongoing drought. Because of that, we had to protect the lake levels as much as possible, which required us to go to the wells quite heavily, more so than we have in previous years. Assuming we get decent recharge, we plan on sticking to the game plan, which is to use the lakes as our primary source, with the wells being more of a backup.
Right, okay, thank you.
Further questions from anyone? Okay, good. Looks like we are finished with that report. Thank you, Mr. Austin. And we'll move on to item 6.2, which is the report on the James plant.
Thank you again, Chair. Pleased to present the bi-monthly report for James Plant for November and December of 2023. The plant met all regulatory requirements for this reporting period, and as of the date of the report, we had 6,941 tons of biosolids leaving the facility. If we could go to Appendix E on page 21, we can see the toxicity curve. One more, sorry. Drop one more page. Thank you. Yeah, December sample is in the red circle there. So you can see we were well below the curve. It's in a good spot. We were happy with that. And that concludes the report. If there are any questions for me.
Yes, any questions?
Nope.
No. Councillor Gibson?
I guess you might call it biosolids, or the material, the residue that's finally left over after the process of the plant takes place. Can you just comment a little bit about that? Well, how is that disposed of? How is that dealt with? I wasn't quite clear on that.
Yes, through the chair, I will probably call upon my colleague here, Louisa. As far as operations go, we produce the biosolids. We get it ready for storage. At that point, it then transfers over to Louisa's group for the contract to take care of removal of that material. So if I may, I'll ask Louisa to speak to that.
Thank you. Good afternoon through the chair to Councillor Gibson. Great question. So the biosolids, as Jamie commented, are stored on site and they're monitored there for compliance with environmental requirements. And once they are ready for removal, they are removed from the site. The long-term contractor that beneficially applies it to land in the interior.
And if I may,
Yes, go ahead.
and how do we ascertain the quality of those biosolids? Like, who does the analysis prior to them transported, I guess up to Cache Creek or wherever they go?
Yes, through the chair, we have staff. My team oversees that environmental monitoring, and they go through the OMA regulation to ensure compliance, and then they're removed as per OMA regulations as well.
So we don't receive any inspection or anything on those where the province is assured that we are following proper protocols. Is that my understanding?
Correct, yes. So we are responsible for doing the monitoring as per the regulation. I believe there might be spot checking like from the environment, from the ministry. I'm not aware of that happening recently, but there are processes by which that could happen.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Chair.
All right, cheers. Thank you, Councilor Gibbs. Anybody else with questions?
No.
Seeing none, we will say thank you for that report. And we'll move to 6.3, which is review the financial statements by Mr. Chan.
Thank you, Chair. So I'm pleased to be going over the WSC financial statements for the 11-month period ending November 30th. We expect the joint water operating activities to exceed the budget for the year and joint sewer operating activities to remain within budget. Overall, joint water and sewer combined are projected to be within budget for both operating and capital. Looking at Appendix A for joint water, the joint water operations are projected to have an unfavorable variance of $186,000 for the year. We are projecting higher maintenance cost than budgeted. This is due to unexpected repairs needed throughout the year. Treatment and disinfection are also projected to be higher due to more spending on ammonia and salt. To help offset this, we are anticipating the general services and water conservation areas to come in under budget. Moving on to Appendix B for joint sewer operations. Joint sewer operations are projected to have approximately a $1,381,000 favorable variance for 2023. This is driven by higher revenues than projected, and we also anticipate lower than budgeted spending in the general services and operations areas. On Appendix C, water capital expenditures are currently within the approved budget for 2023. A total of $4.4 million was spent on November 30th on projects with a total budget of $16.6 million. Lastly, on Appendix E, sewer capital expenditures are currently within the approved budget for the year. A total of $4.86 million was spent at November 30th on projects with a total budget of $10.7 million. And that concludes our financial update for November. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Questions, Mr. Barkman?
You said the revenue was higher in the sewer. Does that stay in the sewer's reserves? So instead of going to general revenue, where if something unexpected comes, we can draw from that.
Yeah. Through the chair to Councillor Barkman, yes, you are correct. As far as I know, water surpluses stay in a water reserve and sewer pluses stay in the sewer reserve.
Yes.
Other questions from anyone? Looks like none. So thank you very much for your report. Appreciate it. Next is item 7, which is a motion to close. Do I have a mover on that?
No.
Councilor
Move,
Gibson.
Danny.
And I saw Councilor Barkman for second. Thank you. All in favor of close? Yes. Okay. That's passed. So we are into closed. I think we need to take a minute's break to make sure we are truly closed with our